Have you ever noticed how a single moment can quietly steal an entire night from you? Slow, thoughtful tone, not violence. Short pause, not tragedy. Short pause, just a sentence. Pause, a look. Pause, a small comment spoken with a smile sharp enough to cut deeper than open hatred ever could. Lower voice. You sit at a crowded dinner table surrounded by relatives. Steady, descriptive tone. Laughter bouncing across the room. Plates clinking. Children running through the hallway. Conversations overlapping each other like waves. Slow pause. Then someone leans back in their chair and says something aimed directly at you. Slightly lower tone. Maybe it sounds harmless to everyone else. Maybe they even laugh after saying it. But you feel it instantly. Pause. That tiny sting under the skin. Pause. That invisible pressure in the chest. Deeper emotional tone. The evening keeps moving. Slow pause. People continue eating. Pause. Someone changes the subject. Pause. Music plays softly in the background. Pause. But your mind never leaves the moment. Lower voice. Hours later, everybody is asleep. Slow, calm tone. The lights are off. The house is quiet. Yet inside your head, the conversation is still alive. Slightly intense tone. You replay their tone. Their expression. The way everyone reacted. You start imagining better responses. Sharper responses. Stronger responses. Gradually rising intensity. You begin fighting a battle that already ended while the person who triggered it sleeps peacefully somewhere without thinking about you at all. Slow, heavy pause. And that is how emotional control works. Firm tone. Most people imagine manipulation as something dramatic. Steady, explanatory tone. They think of lies, threats, commands, or obvious domination. But true emotional manipulation is quieter than that. Slow emphasis. It happens when someone controls your internal world without touching you physically. When another person can occupy your thoughts long after they disappear from the room. When your peace becomes dependent on their behavior. Deep, reflective tone. That is one of the most dangerous forms of weakness a human being can develop, because once people discover they can control your emotions, many of them will continue doing it unconsciously for years. Serious tone. Some people provoke reactions because it gives them energy. Measured tone. Others constantly complain because they feel empty without emotional attention. Some create drama everywhere they go because conflict makes them feel significant. And many individuals never even realize how much power they are giving away every single day simply by reacting to everything around them. Pause. Look carefully at modern life. Slightly stronger tone. People wake up already emotionally exhausted before the day even begins. Slow pace. One negative message ruins their morning. Pause. One rude comment destroys their focus. Pause. One disagreement follows them mentally for days. Pause. One family member's mood controls the atmosphere of the entire house. Pause. One stranger online changes how they feel about themselves. Pause. And little by little their nervous system becomes overloaded from carrying emotional weight that never truly belonged to them. Deep, calm tone. The strange part is most people blame life itself for this exhaustion. Thoughtful tone. They think the problem is work. Pause. Responsibilities. Pause. Stress. Pause. Money. Pause. But many times the real problem is emotional overcrowding. Firm emphasis. Too many voices inside the mind. Slow. Too many opinions being carried around. Pause. Too many invisible battles replaying endlessly. Pause. Too many people living rent-free inside your head. Slightly intense tone. There are homes where one angry person silently controls everyone else emotionally. Serious tone. The moment that person walks into the room, the atmosphere changes. People become cautious. Children grow quiet. Conversations shift. Even laughter feels restricted. Slow, dramatic pause. Nobody says it directly, but everybody adapts emotionally around that person's energy. Lower voice. Now think carefully about what that means. Pause. One human being has gained emotional authority over everybody else. Firm tone. Their mood becomes the weather system of the house. Slower emphasis. If they are calm, everybody relaxes. Pause. If they are upset, everybody suffers. Pause. And most families continue functioning like this for decades without ever recognizing how unhealthy it truly is. Deep, reflective tone. A stable mind should not collapse every time another person becomes emotional. Firm, calm tone. But many people spend their entire lives emotionally chained to the reactions of others. Slow tone. One criticism destroys their confidence. Pause. One argument ruins their week. Pause. One rejection changes how they see themselves. Pause. One misunderstanding becomes emotional poison they carry for years. Lower emotional tone. Over time, this creates fragile personalities. Steady tone. People who constantly absorb emotional pressure eventually lose the ability to feel internally steady. Their thoughts become crowded. Their nervous system becomes tense. Their face starts carrying invisible exhaustion even during peaceful moments. Slow descriptive tone. You can see it clearly in certain individuals. Pause. Their mind never looks rested. Pause. Their eyes always seem busy. Pause. Even silence feels uncomfortable around them because internally they are carrying unfinished emotional tension everywhere they go. Deep tone. But then there are different kinds of people. Slightly hopeful tone. People who move slowly emotionally. Pause. People who do not react instantly. Pause. People who hear disrespect without collapsing internally. Pause. People who can sit quietly without needing to dominate every conversation. Pause. People who do not absorb every emotional atmosphere surrounding them. Calm tone. Most individuals misunderstand these people completely. Pause. They call them cold. Pause. Detached. Pause. Unbothered. Pause. But what they are actually witnessing is emotional discipline. Firm emphasis. An emotional discipline is one of the rarest forms of strength in modern life. Strong, steady tone. Because most human beings are trained to react immediately. Slightly faster tone. Defend yourself immediately. Pause. Explain yourself immediately. Pause. Prove yourself immediately. Pause. Win immediately. Pause. Respond immediately. Pause. Everything becomes instant emotional movement. Slow pause. Very few people learn the ability to pause internally before giving their emotions away. Deep reflective tone. And that pause changes everything. Firm emphasis. Because life becomes lighter once you realize not every situation deserves emotional investment. Calm, wise tone. Not every opinion matters. Pause. Not every insult deserves a response. Pause. Not every misunderstanding requires explanation. Pause. Not every conflict deserves your peace. Slow emphasis. Think about how many broken relationships exist simply because people refuse to let things pass. Thoughtful tone. One careless sentence becomes years of family tension. Pause. One emotional moment becomes permanent resentment. Pause. One argument creates division lasting decades. Pause. Everybody wants victory. Pause. Everybody wants the final word. Pause. Everybody wants emotional validation. Pause. But almost nobody stops long enough to ask a far more intelligent question. Slow build up. Is this even worth my peace? Deep emphasis plus pause. That question alone can save people years of emotional suffering. Steady, calm tone. Because many conflicts continue not because they matter, but because human ego hates feeling emotionally dismissed. Slightly stronger tone. People can tolerate disagreement surprisingly well. Pause. What they struggle to tolerate is feeling emotionally unimportant. Deep tone. That is why silence affects certain personalities more deeply than arguments ever could. Slow emphasis. Some people do not actually want solutions. Pause. They want reactions. Pause. They want emotional participation. Pause. They want proof they still occupy space inside your mind. Lower voice. And once you understand this, you begin seeing human behavior differently. Reflective tone. You notice how certain individuals constantly provoke tension just to feel psychologically powerful. Pause. You notice how some people drain energy from every room they enter without doing anything dramatic at all. Pause. You notice how some conversations leave you exhausted even though nothing important was discussed. Slow tone. That exhaustion matters. Firm tone. Because emotional atmosphere shapes mental health more than most people realize. Deep reflective tone. Spend enough time around negativity, and eventually your nervous system begins expecting negativity automatically. Slow. Spend enough time around criticism, and eventually your thoughts become critical too. Pause. Spend enough time around chaos, and eventually peace starts feeling unfamiliar. Pause. Human beings adapt emotionally to repeated environments. Firm, calm tone. That means if your daily life is filled with gossip, stress, conflict, complaining, passive aggression, emotional manipulation, and endless noise. Your inner world slowly starts reflecting that environment. Slow descriptive tone. Then one day you wake up anxious without understanding why. Pause. Irritated without understanding why. Pause. Restless without understanding why. Pause. Your body looks tired even after sleep because emotionally you never truly rested. Deep emotional tone. And modern society quietly encourages this emotional overload constantly. Steady tone. People celebrate dramatic personalities. Pause. Loudness receives attention. Pause. Chaos receives engagement. Pause. Explosive emotional reactions become entertainment. Pause. Meanwhile, calm individuals are often underestimated at first because emotional steadiness does not attract instant attention. Thoughtful tone. But over time something interesting happens. Pause. People begin trusting calm energy more than emotional chaos. Firm calm tone. Because deep down, every human nervous system craves stability. Slow emphasis. Nobody feels emotionally safe around unpredictable people. Pause. Nobody relaxes around someone whose mood changes every hour. Pause. Nobody truly trusts a person controlled by impulses. Pause. But emotionally grounded individuals create psychological safety naturally. Calm, reassuring tone. Their presence feels stable. Pause. Their reactions feel measured. Pause. Their energy feels clear. Pause. And that creates a different kind of influence entirely. Lower tone. Real power is not controlling others. Firm tone. Real power is becoming difficult to control yourself. Strong emphasis. That is the difference. Pause. Continue the rest of the script in the exact same pattern. Slow reflective pacing, emotional pauses after impactful lines, stronger emphasis on philosophical statements, softer tone during introspection, and firm controlled delivery during key conclusion.